It's just like this wave washing over me again and again. It knocks me down, and when I try to stand up, it just comes for me again.
So to recap, parents dead, brother dead, Vision dead. What happened when he wasn't there to pull you back from the darkness?
We all think we know what grief feels like. It's a hole inside your chest. It's the quiet moments when you forget they're gone, and the crushing weight when you remember. Grief is a fundamentally human experience. It's messy, it's chaotic, and it's never, ever linear. Now, imagine that grief was amplified by infinity. Imagine your loss was so profound it could be felt on a cosmic scale. Imagine your pain was so powerful it could rewrite the world around you. That is where the story of Wanda Maximoff begins. Her journey isn't about a superhero losing control. It's about a human being subjected to an inhuman amount of pain. We've watched Wanda's journey from a frightened orphan to the all-powerful Scarlet Witch, and we've either defended her or condemned her. But the truth is far more complicated than a simple verdict of good or evil. This is the story of how the MCU's greatest tragedy was forged not by a villain's grand plan, but by a series of impossible situations. A mountain of unprocessed trauma, and a grief so profound it tested the very illusion of choice. To understand the monster, we first have to understand the girl. And to do that, we have to go back to the beginning, back to the rubble. Chapter 1. The first scar, the foundation of grief. Every story has a beginning, and for Wanda Maximoff, that beginning isn't an origin of power, it's an origin of pain. Before she was an Avenger, before she could warp reality, she was a 10-year-old girl in Sokovia, sitting across from her twin brother, staring at a blinking red light. Think about that for a second. Not just the explosion that killed her parents, but the 2 days after. Trapped, waiting, with the name of the man she would one day call a teammate, Stark, mocking her with every blink. That isn't just a sad backstory. That is a foundational trauma. It's a core memory that teaches her a terrifying lesson. The world is not safe, and you are utterly powerless to protect the people you love. So when Hydra comes knocking, offering power, what do we expect her to do? It's easy for us, from the comfort of our world, to see them as the bad guys. But for a radicalized, traumatized teenager whose only experience with the world's heroes is the name on the bomb that destroyed her life, Hydra offered the one thing she craved more than anything: control. The power to say, no more. And this is where we encounter our central theme for the first time: the illusion of choice. Was her choice to join Hydra, to volunteer for experiments that could have torn her apart, truly a free one? Or was it the only door that seemed to lead out of a room filled with rubble and helplessness? When your options are do nothing and remain a victim, or seize power from the only people offering it, you're not really choosing a path. You're just trying to survive. Chapter 2. The second fracture. The loss of her anchor. So Wanda gets this incredible power from the Mind Stone, the very thing she had hoped for. And almost immediately, the universe teaches her a second, even crueler lesson. Even infinite power can't always save the person standing right next to you. The death of Pietro in Ultron is so much more than just another tragic event. He wasn't just her brother, he was her twin, her other half, the only person on the entire planet who shared that foundational trauma with her. He was her anchor to her past, to her family, to herself. And in a hail of bullets, he's gone. Her scream in that moment, it's not just a cry of sadness. It's the sound of an entire world being obliterated, the sound of her anchor being severed. Now she's truly alone, an orphan in every sense of the word, in a foreign country surrounded by the very heroes she had just been fighting. So when she decides to stay and become an Avenger, we have to ask the question again. Was it a simple, heroic choice? Or was it the desperate act of a profoundly lonely and terrified young woman latching on to the only semblance of a family she had left? She wasn't just signing up to be a hero. She was applying for the role of family member, hoping this time it would last. Chapter 3. The Fragile Hope. A love made of wires and a soul. And in this chaotic, makeshift family of gods and super soldiers, she finds the one person that doesn't look at her and see a weapon. She doesn't see the weird sister. He doesn't see a ticking time bomb. He sees her. Vision is, without a doubt, the most important person in Wanda's life. He's a being of logic, born from science and an infinity stone, yet he offers her a very human comfort. He's gentle. He's curious about her. He's not afraid of her power. In fact, he seems to understand it better than anyone. He tells her that he sees the Mind Stone in her, that when he looks at her, he feels, well, a connection. For Wanda, this is everything. This is a love that doesn't just accept her past, but is literally intertwined with the source of her power. Her relationship with Vision becomes her new anchor. It's the proof she so desperately needs that a future beyond her grief is possible, that she's not destined to be alone. But this is also where the tragedy becomes almost Shakespearean. Her entire emotional stability, her one source of true, unconditional love and hope, is placed upon this single, fragile being. She puts all of her emotional eggs into one vibranium basket. And that love, as pure and as beautiful as it is a ticking clock. Because the very thing that connects them, the Mind Stone in his head, is also the one thing a mad titan is coming to collect. Her greatest hope is built on the universe's most coveted prize. So Wanda has finally found it. A fragile, beautiful piece of hope with Vision. And for a moment, it seems like she might just get a happy ending. And then Thanos arrives. The events of Infinity War are not just a tragedy for Wanda. They are a uniquely designed form of psychological torture. The universe, it seems, looks at her one source of happiness and says, no, not for you. But it's worse than that. It doesn't just ask her to lose him, it asks her to be the one who destroys him. Think about the impossible, monstrous weight of that choice. The one person who saw you more than a weapon is now asking you to use your power to kill him as an act of love. It's a paradox designed to break a person. And she does it. Through tears, through unimaginable pain, she finds the strength to destroy the thing she loves most to save the universe. It is, by any definition, the act of a true hero. For about 15 seconds. And then Thanos undoes it all. He rewinds time, forcing her to watch her sacrifice become meaningless. He rips the stone from Vision's head, and she is forced to watch the love of her life die for a second time, this time in the most brutal, lifeless way imaginable. This is the moment. This is the breaking point. This is where we have to talk about unreasonable grief. What would a reasonable reaction to that look like? To be forced to kill your soulmate only to watch it fail and be repeated. There is no playbook for that. There is no therapy that can prepare you for that. This is the moment where love persevering stops being a comforting thought and starts becoming the fuel for a fire that is about to burn a hole in reality itself. Because when the universe treats your heart with that much cruelty, you stop trying to live by its rules.
I'm exhausted.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You're all going to be fine. I've kept you safe in here. You feel.
Chapter 5. The Hex of Heartbreak. A prison built from love. After she's returned from the blip, Wanda is utterly, completely, and finally alone. 5 years have passed for everyone else, but for her, the grief is brand new. It's a fresh, open wound. And when she goes to Sword to try and recover Vision's body, to give him a funeral, the one last kindness she can offer, she is met with bureaucratic cruelty. Director Hayward doesn't show her a body. He shows her a sentient weapon being dismantled for parts. This is the final push. She flees to a small town in New Jersey, to a plot of land that Vision had bought for them to grow old in. And in that empty lot, holding the deed to a future that will never exist, she finally shatters. The creation of Westview wasn't a plan. It wasn't a calculated act of villainy. It was a scream of grief so powerful it didn't just echo, it built walls. It rewrote reality, and it brought back a version of the man she loved. And for a little while, it was a paradise built from pain. But here is the turn. Here is where empathy and accountability have to collide. Because while the creation of the Hex may have been an involuntary explosion of trauma, its perpetuation was a choice. Wanda quickly becomes aware that Westview is not empty. It's filled with real people whose minds and bodies she has hijacked to play roles in her perfect sitcom life. We, the audience, feel her pain. We understand why she doesn't want to let go. But the truth is, she chose her fantasy over their reality. They were trapped in a waking nightmare, feeling her grief, experiencing her agony, all while being forced to smile and play along. This is Wanda's first great moral failure. It's a selfish act. It's a monstrous act. It's born from an understandable, immense pain. But it is monstrous all the same. When she finally tears it all down, she has to sacrifice her family to free a town she held hostage. She chose to end her perfect dream, but she was the one who built the prison in the first place. Chapter 6: The Scarlet Witch, The Corruption of Grief. At the end of WandaVision, Wanda is left with two things: the full weight of her actions and a book of damned magic called the Darkhold. She promises to understand her power, and she turns to the worst possible teacher. The Darkhold is a corrupting force, but it's important to understand that it didn't create a new evil inside of Wanda. It simply found the wound that was already there, her grief, and now the loss of her children, and it poured poison into it. It took her most human desire, the love for her family, and twisted it into a singular, universe-breaking obsession. And this is where we have to be absolutely clear. Her actions in Multiverse of Madness are indefensible. The desire to be with her children is a motive we can all understand, but her methods are the work of a true villain. The massacre at Comatage, the psychological torture of the Illuminati before she brutally murders them. This is not the work of a grieving woman who has lost control. This is the work of a predator. And yet that theme of the illusion of choice comes back, but in its most twisted form. Corrupted by the Darkhold, consumed by her grief, Wanda genuinely believes this is the only way. Her pain has created such profound moral blinders that she sees entire universes full of people as nothing more than obstacles between her and her children. The final tragedy of Wanda Maximoff is that her love, the one thing that kept her going, is the very thing that becomes the justification for her atrocities. She is so trapped in the nightmare of her own grief that she is willing to create a nightmare for everyone else. The scared girl from Sokovia is gone. The grieving Avenger is gone. All that's left is the Scarlet Witch. Conclusion: an infinity of loss. So where does that leave us? After the rubble, the loss, the love, the hex, and the madness, was Wanda Maximoff a hero or a villain? To be honest, the question itself feels too simple now, doesn't it? It's like trying to describe a hurricane with a single word. Wanda was a victim who became a monster. She was a hero who committed unforgivable atrocities. She was a woman who just wanted a family and a cosmic entity willing to burn universes to get one. She is the living, breathing, heartbreaking embodiment of a paradox. Her grief was never unreasonable. It was bottomless. It was an ocean of pain that the world just kept adding to, storm after storm, until a tidal wave was the only possible outcome. And in the end, her choices felt like an illusion because her story was never truly her own. It was a story written by a Stark bomb, by Ultron's bullets, by Thanos' gauntlet, and by the whispers of a demonic book. She was a character constantly reacting to having everything she ever loved violently torn from her grasp. The reality of Wanda Maximoff isn't found in a simple verdict of good or evil. It's found in the terrifying, heartbreaking scar left behind when love is forced to persevere through an infinity of loss. When her last desperate act was to bring the temple down upon herself, she wasn't just destroying the Scarlet Witch. She was finally, mercifully, ending the story of the girl from Sokovia who never, ever got a choice. Her story is one of the most compelling and, frankly, one of the most divisive in modern pop culture. I think the reason we can't stop talking about her is because her journey holds up a dark mirror. It forces us to ask ourselves what we might become if we lost everything, not just once, but over and over again. She is a profound lesson in how trauma, left unchecked and unsupported, can curdle even the purest intentions into something truly horrific. But now I want to hear from you. After seeing her full journey, where do you land? Do you see her as a tragic figure who was pushed too far, or as a villain who was ultimately responsible for her actions? Is there a path to redemption for her, or was the destruction of the Scarlet Witch the only end she could have had? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see what you think. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more essays like this. It really helps. Thank you so much for watching.